Ladies and gentlemen, South Sudan Civil Society Alliance is conducting this press conference to give our position on the current conflict in Sudan. As we speak, there has been heavy fighting in the capital city, Khartoum, and other areas in Sudan. Sudan is our neighbor, and we have a rich history because we were Sudan until we became independent in 2011. We therefore call on the warring parties to stop fighting, and we are asking for ceasefire to take effect immediately. We also call on the region, the IGAD, African Union, and international community to take their responsibility by making dialogues, talking to the parties, convene the parties to the conflict, to sit on the tables and negotiate. So what we need, we want the gun to be silenced in Sudan. Whatever happens in Sudan, it affects us. These are our neighbors. And you may recall we have a lot of refugees, South Sudanese, who are actually in Sudan. And it is very unfortunate that it is the first time actually to have such war after independence in Marawi, in Khartoum, and other areas as well. We learned there has been fighting since yesterday and today. We understand in Marawi, in Port Sudan, in Amdurman, in Khartoum Bahri, and South Khartoum, Soba. And we learn also that this war has brought casualties where 56 people were killed and 600 people were wounded. This is a public information. We have an access to it. We don't have details. But what we are doing, we are just appealing to the leaders of Sudan to stop fighting and go for dialogues. Thank you. I think this is just a statement, unless if somebody has a question. Yes, Simon.
My name is Simon Deng. I work for the Dawn newspaper. Thank you for calling the press briefing. But my question is, in this war in Khartoum, do you think it will affect the South Sudan revitalized peace agreement? Do you think it will also, the Juba peace agreement that was mediated by South Sudan is dead because of that? So what other spillover effect do you think South Sudan will suffer as a result of such crisis?
Well, first of all, I'm not sure, and the right people to address your question is the government of the Republic of South Sudan, because the Juba peace agreement that was reached between the Sudanese government and oppositions was facilitated and by South Sudan government, and of course any war can affect such a treaty or such a peace. But what I know, there's no statement from Sudan whether they are still committed or not committed. But I understand the warring parties are not the opposition in the government. It is the government itself that are fighting. So how would it affect the Juba peace agreement? I think we have to wait and see, because it would have been clear if these opposition parties and opposition movement, if they were to be the one fighting the government, then such a question could be relevant. But now, this is not a war between the opposition of Sudan and government. This is the government itself fighting itself. So I believe we have to wait and see. As per the peace agreement of the South Sudan peace agreement that we are implementing, I don't think it will affect the implementation of peace agreement in terms of collapsing or not implementing the rest of protocols. I don't think so, because the parties to the peace agreement in the Republic of South Sudan are committed, and they are working hand in hand to implement the peace agreement. I understand we have started, the Republic of South Sudan has started graduating the unified forces since last August, and they continue to work together. And the command now is one. We have the one command of unified forces in the Republic of South Sudan. We understand we have all the three branches of the government as per the peace agreement. So I'm sure we will continue to implement the peace agreement. I'm sure the government of national unity will work hard also to help the Sudanese people reach an agreement, and that's very important. Economically, yes, it can affect South Sudan because there are some neighboring states that benefit from stability of Sudan. Also, as a neighbor, you don't wish something bad for your neighbor, in which we thought it would be wise to give solidarity. We should stand with the people of Sudan as civil society. We must stand with our leadership. And as I mentioned earlier, President Kiir has initiated that people have to work together, the parties to the Juba peace agreement. I think they are still committed to, and I'm sure our government also is working to make mediation, like any other government in the region, like any other government in the world. You work for peace and stability. And thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you. My name is Dennis. Sorry, I came a little bit late. In this incident which is happening in Khartoum, do you think there is something that South Sudan government has to learn as a government, since the other government is fighting themselves?
I think we have taken our lesson earlier. I think it started here in 2013. It was the same forces of one government that were fighting in 2013. We started earlier in 2016. So I believe South Sudanese, they have taken a lesson already. Yes, we can learn from them also that fighting destroy life and properties. So war is not good. No leader wishes for his people to enter into war or violence or conflict. We have taken our lessons, but I believe that question goes to our leaders. They need to provide political will, implement the peace agreement that we have, make sure that the roadmap, the extension that was made in August 4th, 2022 has to be respected. They have to work together as partners, conduct election on time. Then we will say that we have learned from other countries and we have learned from our lesson. But it is yet to be seen. Thank you.
I'm Golden Nilsson Deneke. My question to you is, as a South Sudan Civil Society Alliance, are you speaking on saying everything, you're putting it in the government? Which position are you taking in calling for a peace in Sudan?
Our position, we want gun to be silenced. Our position, we want peace in Sudan. We don't want fighting. This is our position as Civil Society Alliance. I haven't mentioned also, I am the deputy chairperson also for the International Conference on the Great Lake Region Civil Society Forum. I had a phone call with the chairperson of Regional Civil Society Forum, Mr. Joseph Wotiko, who is currently in Angola, and I talked to them yesterday about what is happening in Sudan, because I'm the deputy chair for peace and security. So the region is concerned We are also concerned as Civil Society Alliance that peace have to be observed, but to do it, the first thing that needs to be done is ceasefire. We are calling for ceasefire. This is our position. And the ceasefire, of course, will be followed by dialogues. And the best way to address any conflict is through dialogues. Because fighting take lives, take properties, destroying properties that has been built for the centuries. Matter with the history of Sudan, it is now bleeding. The capital city is bleeding, and other countries, another area in the countries also, like for Sudan, there's fighting going on. We have seen also in other places like Damazin, Gadar. So this is not good for Sudan. It is not good for us as civil society. We are always for dialogue. This is our position. So we are calling the warring parties in Sudan to immediately make a ceasefire and adopt language of dialogues. And I'm sure they will be assisted by the region. I'm sure they will be assisted by the IGAD. They will be assisted by international community. And we are ready also to talk to the civil society in Sudan. We will engage them. We'll talk to the civilians. But there's no way you can go in when people are still fighting. Unless the ceasefire, we will not be able now to do anything. So the first priority is ceasefire. That's our position as Civil Society Alliance. Thank you.